Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We decided to partner with the Prime think tank because I think, as was just mentioned, that taxation and taxation policy, although it's a necessary evil, but it has to be very well managed to bring about the positive results for the country and for individual sectors. I am here only to bring something on the table which is from a taxpayer's viewpoint, or the bottlenecks that we face or the harassment that we face even when we want to pay taxes. So it will be a short, brief presentation just to introduce the association and what we do and what are the major issues that we are facing now, so that this forum and this think tank can take this input and debate and deliberate upon it and then build it into the tax reform policy that they are so good at doing, and they are experts and we are not, but here is a feedback from the field. Okay, quick introduction to our association. We were established in 1997. We are the registered trade organization with the DGTO and represent the construction companies of Pakistan. And we are managed from the regulatory point of view. We come under the Pakistan Engineering Council, whose chairman is sitting here, and I thank you for attending this very important seminar, Engineer Wasim Nazir. And we also are nominated on the governing body of Pakistan Engineering Council, and we have 2 members in the Pakistan Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Pakistan Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And our office bearers are located in all the provinces of Pakistan. Now, the construction industry, it's very important to understand what constitutes the construction industry. It is the 3 C's: the client, whom we work for; the consultant, who design the projects and make the specifications and sometimes supervise the project; and the construction contractors. Now, the construction contractors are technically called the constructors according to the PEC Act that governs us. The specific word is the constructors, the one who builds the project. So these 3 entities make up the construction industry, and it's a service industry. We provide our technical input and our experience to deliver our services for the construction or making an asset for the government of Pakistan, for the PSDP projects, for the annual development ADB projects in the provinces, and for the industrial sector and the development sector in the private sector, for the normal industrialists or the land developers that take. Now, we must understand there is a striking difference between a constructor and a developer. The construction, we bring services, and the developer sells a product. You know, he sells office space, he sells a plot, maybe he develops it a plot, he sells commercial space, but we bring the value addition into that project. So we are the people who add value. If a raw piece of land is developed into a housing society, and we go and build roads and infrastructure, now that value addition comes from the construction part of the whole project. And so that is the difference. And so selling products by the developers and providing service by the constructor. The associated industries that go with us, if it's a road project, is more than 12 associated vendors and suppliers are associated with this. And if it's a building works, it's about 40 plus industries that go with it. So therefore, the importance of this sector can be understood that it's one of the largest employment generator after agriculture. So that is the importance of this sector, because if you want to reduce poverty, the agriculture sector is about 70% agrarian, and we are about 38% of the employment that we generate. And the next most important thing about the employment is that it's wide spectrum. It's a wide spectrum antibiotic. It's like, we employ unskilled, semi-skilled, skilled labor. We employ engineers, we employ site supervisors, drivers, chowkidars, security people on the site, and engineers, associate engineers, graduate engineers, master's engineers. So the spectrum of the employment generated is quite wide. And then a very important aspect about the employment generation is that this industry provides the training for the skilled and semi-skilled people and the engineers who go abroad for employment and then are linked to the remittance that come in, which is now the highest foreign exchange earning, even more than what we export. So this industry plays a vital part in training those people who go abroad and then are part of the chain that send remittances back to the country. It is said that when construction moves, the country moves. But at the moment, construction is at a standstill. And the regional share of the share in the GDP, in this context, it is India. We are the lowest among the regional countries as a percentage, and it is now even less than 2%. The latest, I will just show you the latest report from the State Bank. It's on a negative side. And we must understand that the construction firm registration has fallen over the years with PEC. Now all constructors in Pakistan are licensed by the Pakistan Engineering Council. We cannot work and a project cannot be executed till it's a licensed construction company, which is done by the Pakistan Engineering Council. Now look at this, the limits, the working limits of the contractors are displayed. The bottom three, the SMEs, they're not even the SMEs, I'll call them the small enterprises, constitute 88% of the construction contractors in Pakistan. Now policies have to be designed to cater to these, because we all know that the SMEs form the backbone of any sector and are the real generation of employment and growth of a country. These lower categories, the other may manage themselves because of the orbit in which they have come, in spite of all the roadblocks. But these bottom three categories, which 25 million, the limit 65, 200, 500, this is with the expensive construction materials today, this is a very low ceiling anyway. But these are the people who need to be thought about and who need to be considered when making policies. And the enrollment and the licensing of the construction contractors by PEC has fallen over the last 5 years from approximately 50,000 to now about 25,000. So this is the loss of construction companies in Pakistan. This is the recent sector, this is by the source is the State Bank of Pakistan. This is in dollar terms and rupee terms. This is the output has fallen and we are now down to 3 billion, so it's less than 2% of the GDP. Now we come to the topic of the day, which is the tax regime. Now this has been said many times and I'm sure I'm going to listen to more when the experts come here, that generally for durable, equitable and sustainable growth, a fair, simple and consistent tax regime featuring the ease of compliance and the low cost of compliance is the paramount importance. I think these are the basic principles that we must understand. And it should also be clearly understood and accepted. At times it's understood, but it's not accepted. That tax increase inhibits growth. We cannot have taxing the same 3 million or I don't know how many taxpayers and keep taxing them and then expect growth. Now, policies to be formulated with stakeholders on board and considering the ground realities that we have in Pakistan. You know, we are a poorly educated country, so the thing is that the tax regime has to be simple, compliance has to be easy, and it has to be low cost. So I request all the tax experts sitting here that these basic principles be adhered to when formulating and recommending these policies. Coming to the construction sector, particularly, the present situation is on the income tax. We were taken out of the fixed tax regime, which was at 7-8% of our turnover, to the minimum tax regime. Now, this minimum tax regime means that if I have a tax deduction withholding income tax at 7.5 to 8% from all my payments, and the corporate rate is 29%, I must be making around 30% profit on my works to come to a 29% of, 8% of 29% corporate rate. This is simply not possible because the engineering estimates that the government makes, in those estimates, the contractor's profit is limited to 10%. So, and this minimum tax is also not adjustable. That's the minimum tax. That goes. And another aspect is that, most of the projects that we are executing, because the industrial sector and the private sector is down, and most of the projects that we are executing comes from the government projects, which is the PSDP and the ADPs. Now that's like taking money from one pocket and putting it into the other pocket. So that is coming from the PSDP budget, and a certain amount is taken out and given back to the FBR. So if you can call that really tax collection, I wonder. They have done something different for the developers. They have the 7F for the developers, where the turnover, they say the taxable income for a developer is 10% if he builds a house and sells it. 10% of the turnover is taxable profit. And then they tax that on this. If he sells plots, it's 15%. And if he does both, it's 12%. So 12% of turnover has been fixed as taxable profit. That's another way of, going around and having a fixed tax regime. But that's what they do for the similar activity done by the developer. Our proposal is that a maximum of 2% may be withheld as advance tax, the balance to be adjusted with the tax return. Now this 2% is from all our payments that are made during the course of the project, that we get monthly or bi-monthly payments. This would ensure an equitable and a fair tax regime for the construction industry. We also act as withholding agents for the FBR, for the government of Pakistan. Now, instead of facilitating a withholding agent, they penalize us if we make a mistake. And the dynamics of this industry are such that we deal with some very small scale suppliers and subcontractors, because construction is by nature migratory. We are here in one place, we are doing a project in another place, even urban, rural, or even in very remote areas. Now when we go into remote areas or peri-urban areas, there is no banking facility there. The people we deal with have no bank accounts. Our labor payments, which are in cash, are not accepted by the FBR. The limit is that if you have a payment of 15,000 or more, you have to make it through a check. If you have an expense of 10,000 or more rupees, you have to make it through a check. We can't comply with that. It's way beyond what the field situation is. So, and when we do not come up to the compliance requirements with the FBR, they add back the cash transactions as not our expense, increase our profits on the paper, and then tax us, and then that is where the party begins. and then we dance to their tunes. Then we dance to their tunes. Their music and our dance. So we propose that either we should not be treated as withholding agents, or 30% of turnover should be accepted as cash, allowed as cash transactions. Because it's just impossible to work everything on a check or a bank basis, because we deal with labor, we deal with small suppliers, sand, earthworks, tractor trolley, and they don't have bank accounts, and opening a bank account is no longer easy. Sales tax on services. This is another area with the provincial sales tax. We have to file, every province has its own, so we would like this to be rationalized and made into single sales tax for all provinces. And another interesting thing is, the law says that the sales tax has to be paid by the service receiver. What they have done is that they say now, the FBR says, if the service receiver is not giving you tax, they hardly pay our own invoices, then you pay them, and then you may not have any magisterial powers to take the money out of a service receiver. So that's another thing which has to be sort of looked into. Now, we have been saying this for over a year. We have been discussing this, we have been proposing this, from discussions to proposals to pleadings to laments. It has now become a rant. I hope people listen. We read about intelligence-based operation against the militants. I'm hoping that we see wisdom-based tax policies. Thank you.